I want to read this next page because it's important too. The Brain Trust, in charge of Tavistock's War on America, happened in 1946, consisted of Bernays, Lewin, Byron, Margaret Mead, Gregory Bateson, H.V. Dix, Lippert, Nesbitt, and Eric Trist. Where did the Invisible Army shock troops get their training? They got it from Reese at Tavistock, from where they fanned out across America to sow their seeds of environment, social turbulence, stress patterns. They fanned out into every level of American society, obtaining posts and places where they could exert the influence they had been taught how to use by Reese. Decisions made by the members of the Invisible Army of Shock Troops have profoundly affected America at every level, and the worst is yet to come. Underline the worst is yet to come. Just to give a few examples of who some of the leading shock troops were, let's mention George Schultz, Alexander Haig, Larry King, Phil Donahue, Admiral Berkeley, deeply involved in the cover-up of the Kennedy assassins, Richard Armitage, Billy Graham. This is the one I wanted you to circle. This name keeps coming up in everything we look into. Billy Graham keeps coming up. How he was working with the Catholics. How he really was part of the brainwashing process. He's the one, him and Oral Roberts and Kenneth Hagin and Norman Vincent Peale. They're the ones who was used to help infiltrate Robert Schuller, the church.
Well, Billy Graham was really close to a lot of the presidents.
He went to the White House to all of them because he's part of the same group. Jimmy Swaggart too. That's what I'm saying. All of those people, Kenneth Copeland, T.D. Jakes.
And those are the ones my sister loved.
Because she doesn't know she's been part of this brainwashing. Let's read on. William Paley, William Buckley, Pamela Harriman, she's deceased, Henry Kissinger, George Bush, and the late Catherine Meyer Graham. Not to mention the caravan that arrived in Washington from Arkansas in 1992, headed by Mr. and Mrs. Clinton, at whose hands the nation was soon to be torn apart. Newcomers include Rush Limbaugh, Bill O'Reilly, Larry King, and Karl Rove. Y'all know these people?
Yeah.
Okay. Business leaders and shock troop groups are legion.
To go back to this, these are folk who people really listen to.
And they are part of the Council of Foreign Relations, the Tavistock Institute, because they have a vested right, they have vested interest in all of this stuff. So they do their jobs good. They're scripted.
Right, and Larry King though moved into the medical stuff in terms of, if you've seen all these commercials he's doing with telling people to take all this omega something, he's done moved into propaganda.
All of this stuff is just a conditioning. Chris looked like he's in shock.
But it just makes you be more alert.
So business leaders and shock troop groups are legion. Far too many to list here. Thousands of such invisible army shock troops of the business brigade were turned out at Tavistock's U.S. facility, the National Training Laboratory, which began its existence on the huge sprawling New York estate of Averell and Pamela Harriman. See, that's the same lady who's deceased. As we now know, Mrs. Harriman was the one who selected Clinton for special training and ultimately the Oval Office.
Is she one of the black Phoenicians?
She could be, because they say that these people who's listed was part of the 300.
They don't even have Barack on here.
At the National Training Laboratory, corporate leaders were trained in stress that was before his time, that's why. Train in stress situations and how to manage them. Companies who sent their top executives to NTC to receive for Tavistock training, including Westinghouse, B.F. Goodrich, Alcoa, Halliburton, BP, Shell, Mobil, Exxon, Eli Lilly, DuPont, the New York Stock Exchange, Archer Daniels, Midland, Shell Oil, Mobil Oil, Conoco, Nestle, AT&T, IBM, and Microsoft. Worse yet, the U.S. government sent its top echelon personnel drawn from the U.S. Navy and U.S. State Department, the Civil Service Commission, and the Air Force. Your tax dollars, by the millions, paid for the education Tavistock gave these government employees at Arden House on the Harriman Estate.
So this lady wielded some power.
Before she died, she was the one who would be selecting who's going to be the next president.
So who, did John Coleman write this book?
Yes,
Who's John Coleman?
you can look him up.
Okay.
This is just an excerpt from the big book.
Right,
So you can download it for free.
yeah. And so I just have a few comments. I'm politically illiterate. Okay,
Yeah.
so a lot of the stuff I have to